Hello friends, and welcome to another episode of Can I Kick It, the Jetpack Joust web series where we talk about indie games, board games, and role-playing games that you can help crowdfund right now. There is an awful lot of games to talk about this week, so let's hurry up and get started. The first-person survival horror genre has seen a real resurgence in the last couple of years, with games like Amnesia and Outlast leading the critical and popular forefront. This has led to a bit of a flooding of the market. There's a lot of these kinds of games out there, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're all just copycats. Death in Candlewood is a game developed by Rosebud Studios, a collection of designers that have worked on games as varied as Fear, Silent Hill, and The Witcher. This means that they know how to scare you, and if they don't, their influences certainly do. Edgar Allan Poe and Mary Shelley are probably the most prominent of these, and some of the visuals look directly out of Frankenstein's exposition. Ray Doon is a doctor in the small town of Candlewood, a New England hamlet straight out of 1940s Americana. When his young son goes missing, all evidence points to his former mentor, the nefarious Dr. Lester Caravan. And let's just say that Dr. Caravan has been doing some pretty creepy things with bodies. Rosebud describes the game as a love story between the living and the dead, and it's this focus on the romance of Gothic horror that separates it from other games in the genre. Candlewood is a completely realized town with over 1,000 buildings to explore and dozens of characters to meet and engage with. The player can take whatever route he wants through the game, and this means that you can really take in the lush mountainous environments. You can also travel in style in sleek 1940s cars, and the weapons are straight out of the era as well. It's the caliber of artists that are working on Death in Candlewood that has me truly interested in it. But beyond that, you have the fact that it takes place in the 1940s, an era that is rarely evoked by video games. This means the game takes on a combined appearance of both a film noir and a horror experience, something that I can really get behind. I can't wait to load up my Tommy gun and explore the town of Candlewood, and I hope that you'll join me. I really debated whether or not I wanted to include this next one on this week's list, because frankly, I don't like puzzles, but my mom does, and when I was a kid, we used to spend time putting them together. I wanted to try to invoke those memories, and I think this new product will really help to do that. Baffledazzle is a revolutionary approach to the traditional tabletop puzzle, looking to reinvent this mostly stale hobby. Tired of the same old puzzle piece design, the developer Rachel Happen has created a series of 5 aesthetically pleasing and deeply artistic puzzles that are meant to entice a voyage of intellectual discovery. Baffledazzle incorporates both logic problems and unique physical pieces to challenge the visual and mental acuity of the participant. The idea is to create a true experience, one that you'd be happy to mount on your wall. I'm not aware of any other artist that's approached this genre with such a keen and unique eye, and that's what's got me so excited. Baffledazzle really takes this hundreds-of-year-old tradition and changes it to make it something new and unique. I can't wait to sit down with one of these puzzles and try to put them together, because both the concept and the product are equally beautiful. I've always secretly wondered why there aren't more video games that emulate that classic cinematic genre of the jailbreak, but the Breakout from Pixel Trip Games looks to be doing just that. Inspired by classic World War II action films like The Great Escape, the Breakout is the story of Guy Cassell, a former thief and current Air Force pilot who was shot down over Nazi territory and sent to a vicious POW camp. Roaming about the prison under the cover of night, Guy must use all of his stealthy pickpocketing skills to uncover all the tools he'll need to break out of the camp and get back to his fiancée. But if he's caught, then his inventory is wiped and he's sent to the cooler, a horrible torture. This makes the game sound like it's a bit more open-ended than most point-and-click adventure games, and that's got me really excited, because every single one of your choices will be dependent on how stealthy you've been out in the field. You must also solve the mystery of several missing inmates who've been rumored to be taken by an evil colonel who dabbles in the occult. This adds an interesting supernatural element to the story as well. Everyone who's watched this show knows that I love point-and-click adventure games, so this is right in my wheelhouse, and I hope it gets funded because there's not enough Prison Break games out there, and this is a unique take on the World War II mythos. Aetherium is a skirmish-based miniatures board game for 2 or more players that's based in a world where most of human consciousness has been placed inside of a vast quantum computer called the Ether. This simulation has ultimately replaced reality with an alternate universe where anything is possible. And that means several political dissidents are trying to use it to their advantage, and they battle amongst each other in this digital space. Players choose between 2 fully developed factions and over 50 miniatures. The Axiom represents all of the politicians and corporations that have invested in the Aetherium, and they hope to control its fate. They're a neo-fascist regime with the most power in this colonial landscape. The Nanime represent the oppressed and the wild, and they view the Ether as a place of infinite potentials where they can tear down the norms of the old world and build up new ones based off of their anarchic visions. The game is exquisitely designed with 32mm miniatures and lots of different map types to choose from. The dice, the cards, the board, everything has an artistic inclusiveness that really makes it stand out from a lot of its Kickstarter brethren. It should also be noted that Aetherium has been designed by Anvil 8 Games, a new company made up of many veteran designers who've been working in the games industry for years and years. That means there's a lot of experience behind this, and a lot of them have already had very successful products placed under their belt. Experience doesn't necessarily equate success, but this game looks complete already, and it looks like a lot of fun. The world's interesting, it's detailed, their Kickstarter video was very intriguing, and it drew you into the world, and I hope that this game gets made. We started with survival horror, and we're going to finish with it. Grave is a procedurally built first-person shooter that places you in a dynamic and ever-shifting world where light is your only weapon against true darkness. Fueled by surreal imagery and a disturbing tone, this game is actually a combination of the roguelike and the FPS. But instead of one randomly generated environment, Grave actually gives you a new world every time the sun comes up, which means you can never be sure what horrors await you after the next sunrise. This makes the game exciting and unpredictable in ways that other survival horror experiences can't be. There is no stasis. Change is inevitable. And the only thing that can kill the creatures that now run rampant in this lost desert community is light. Light from your flashlight or from fire. Different creatures react to the light in different ways, and as such, it's up to you to figure out the best way to end this nightmare. Grave forces the player into a horrifying survival situation, but it also promises to weave an interesting story amidst all this chaos. How Broken Window Studios intends to do this is yet to be shown, but that doesn't cease my excitement for this ambitious title. I really hope that they can inject some newness and some excitement into this rather crowded genre. Well folks, that's it for this week's episode of Can I Kick It? As always, all of the projects we've discussed today are down below in the description bar, and we hope you'll check a few of them out and maybe throw a couple bucks their way, because there's a lot of them that are really worthwhile this week. We'd also like to announce that both Can I Kick It and Hit the Table are going to be on a bit of a hiatus for the next few weeks, and that's because we're headed to PAX East, and we want to deliver you the best content from that convention that we possibly can. That's going to take up a lot of our time, but we promise that we'll be back, and we hope that you can forgive us. Please check us out at jetpackjoust.com or facebook.com/jetpackjoust. You can also follow us on Twitter at jetpackjoust, where we're always saying some cool, insightful things. But most importantly, please go to that website, because we're going to have a lot of great articles coming in the next few weeks. Frankly, my Steam library is filled to the brim with new games that I've got to play and review, and we want to tell you about all of this great stuff that's coming out that we think you'll like. So go ahead over there, do whatever you got to do, subscribe to this channel, like this video, watch some other videos, do whatever you can. I'll do whatever I can, I promise. We'll see you after PAX. Bill Murray.